can have the stinking NL East. The Phillies tonight are heading back to the National League Championship Series for the second straight year. 3-1 winners over the Atlanta Braves. Welcome back to the Fighting's Final. I'm your boy, Matty B. Over there, or right there. No, he's over here. There he is. My boy, Mike Laro. Mike, what's going on? How you feeling tonight?
Oh, grease up them poles, Matty B. Grease them up. We're heading back to the NLCS. How about this, dude? The Astros get to defend their world championship. The Phillies are going back to defend their National League championship. Bring on the Diamondbacks. I told you, Pat Bernard, you owe me an apology on Sunday. I told you the Braves were frauds. I told you the Dodgers were frauds. I want my apology.
Yes, so do I, Pat. Just apologize to me for general purposes. You know, there's nothing specific I need you to apologize for. Just apologize to me for being you. All right, I'll take that.
There you go. We can do that.
So, Mike, listen, tonight was not the 10-2, blowout, dancing in the aisles in the third inning. It was a little tighter. Spencer Strider, who has an aversion to pitching in front of fans, got to start in front of 48,000 knuckleheads who were waving red flags and, taunting him in every step of the way. I heard one report come out that a fan was escorted away from the bullpen railing because he was abusing the Atlanta Brave relief pitchers. They're so bad that the pitchers called up the security to have him removed away from the area. But listen, a record-setting performance tonight by two of the Phillies who pretty much have been in the news all season long with this team when it comes to winning. And we'll start with Nick Castellanos right now. Nick Castellanos tonight, I'm not going to give you his line. I'm just going to give you the sexy part of it. Becomes the first player in Major League Baseball history, Mike, not Phillies history. I'm talking MLB, to hit multiple home runs in back-to-back games in the postseason. I mean, we're talking the Babe Ruths, the Mike Schmidts, all the power hitters of yesterday, DiMaggio, Mance, all of them never did that. And Nick Castellanos accomplishes that feat in 2023. We talked about it before going on air. My vote for MLB Comeback Player of the Year. How important has Nick Castellanos been for this team this year, Mike?
Oh, my God, he's been huge. And, I followed Nick before he came here. And I'm dealing with Pat again on Sunday mornings when Pat was, talking about getting rid of this guy in the offseason. I said, listen, you will regret that move. If the Phillies were to do that, they would regret it instantly. This guy's a good hitter. He's just been in his way. And I'll tell you what, he really carried this team in the beginning of the year. For the first half of the year, when Bryce wasn't hitting home runs, when Schwarber wasn't hitting home runs, it was Nick Castellanos. That's why he was our representative for the All-Star game. Think about this, Matty B. Look at all those Atlanta Braves that went to the All-Star game. Nick and Kimball were our only representatives this year, and they're moving on to the NLCS. So for me, I love the fact that Nick got a chance to come back and show what he could do. And you know what? I'm happy for him, man. 2 games back-to-back, two jacks. And he got – the best part about it was he was the guy who made the statement that, when we get hit, we get up off the canvas. Well, he was the guy that threw the right cross back. He did it last night, did it again tonight. And he did it against Spencer Strider. Strider was – dude, 2 starts, he had 15 strikeouts against this Phillies lineup.
Oh, absolutely.
So I tip my cap to Spencer Strider. That dude, even though he don't like fans and he's a little bit of a weirdo, you got to tip your cap. The guy was money, man. He kept his team in there. If I'm a Braves fan, I'm wondering where Matt Olson was in this series, where Ronald Acuna was in this series. The only guy that showed up for them offensively was Austin Riley.
Yep. Yeah. No, it's going to be another long off season for the Atlanta Braves to ponder all that. And the other player, of course, the much heralded Trey Turner, who seems to kind of just roller coaster his way through this season. He's up, he's down, he's up, he's down. He's in the crosshairs. He's on cloud 9 tonight. 4 for 4, a triple shy of the cycle. The first Philly in Phillies history ever to have 4 hits in a postseason game. Now, again, we're talking like Mike Schmidt, Chase Utley, Ryan Howard. I know the team only has 16 playoff appearances, but there's some heavy hitters in those with those.
Pete Rose.
Yeah, and he's the only one that actually it's just an amazing number. And you mentioned Spencer Strider, and we talked about this too before going on there, Mike. Everything was gas. He had nothing else working for him, and the Phillies
Yeah,
about an
yeah,
inning or one or two rotations through the lineup, and they caught up with him.
yeah. You know what? I felt like the other pitch that he had that was working tonight, but he kind of got away from it, was his changeup. He got a couple Phillies on his changeup tonight, and he really got away from it. And he just started throwing gas. So when you start throwing gas, man, and they know you're throwing gas, guys like Castellanos are going up there licking their chops. And I'll tell you what, him and Turner, both. I mean, there's our run support for the night. But again, this one thing I got to say about this Phillies team, Matty, and I know you've been keeping track of this all year, leaving runners on base. I'm sorry. I love Alec Boehm. He got to get dropped in the lineup. I don't know who you're going to move up to that fourth spot right now, but JT Realmuto's been kind of up and down. Boehm has had a terrible series. I've been moving him down.
Yeah. Now I would move Bowman. I would also do something with the man in the leadoff spot, but we'll get to that here in a second. Let's head over to the box score and talk about this real briefly. We're waiting on our man Al, who's down there at the stadium right now. He's probably being, kind of engulfed in a red wave right now. So we're waiting to see if when he comes on, and he's going to give us some on the scene reporting here as soon as he has a minute. But for the Braves tonight, 1 run on 5 hits, 3 runs on 10 hits for the Phillies. They did also commit an error. How the scoring in this game happened? Phillies found themselves down. Ranger Suarez, Mike, people are saying, he was solid. I'll give him a good effort tonight. So I'm not really going to go solid. But he did enough the last 5 innings, and that's all they really wanted him to do. What was your take on Ranger tonight, especially in those early innings before he kind of got in that trouble later in the game?
I'm sorry, with this Braves lineup, his 2 starts in this, I mean, yeah, he probably went, 7 innings? Or no, 8 innings between both spots, between both starts. To hold that Braves lineup to 1 run over 8 innings of pitch and ball, I think Ranger did a really good job. His stuff wasn't crisp, but he did what he had to do to get them out. He had them off balance.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you right now, the 2 guys in that lineup that looked so off balance to me was Ozzie Albies looked really off balance against Ranger tonight, and so did Matt Olson. Matt Olson didn't know if he was coming, going, or been there. And it was just – and you could just see it. To me, the Phillies starting pitching was the story in this series. And if you look at it, if it ain't for a blown game in Game 2, Matty B, you and Al would have been doing the post game of a sweep.
Yeah.
They would have gotten swept. I mean, the Phillies kind of let off the gas, and it was their fault for losing Game 2. But as I told my partner on Sunday morning, history repeats itself, and it did it again.
Yeah. You mentioned a couple of things. Let's get back into the scoring on the night. Then we'll kind of get into this offensively, talk a little bit more in depth about Strider and Suarez. And then also, of course, mention our next opponent, who's lying await out there in the desert. That's going to be an interesting series. Austin Riley would get things going for the Braves in the 4th inning. He did homer, kind of quieted things down there. Up to that point, it was a straight-up pitcher's duel. But Austin Riley got a hold of one, 346 feet to left, 1-0 Braves. But then here comes the Nick Castellanos show, his first of 2 home runs in the bottom of the 4th to tie things. Trey Turner with a homer in the 5th, and then Nick Castellanos with a homer in the 6th, and there you have 3-1. Mike, the Phillies offense, as you mentioned, pretty devoid of moving runners along or getting runners in off base for the night. They left 9 on. They were 0 for 6 with runners in scoring position. That's got to get cleaned up. I don't know if we're going to win a world championship the way their ineffectiveness with runners in scoring position. Something's got to give there. For the Phillies offensively, individually, let's talk about my man Kyle Schwarber. And the only reason why I go to him is because he's right there at the top of the lineup. I can't miss him in the box score. He's staring me right in the face. Mike, 0 for 4, 2 more strikeouts. His average is down to 160. And we're winning and hitting all these home runs in spite of a Kyle Schwarber on a milk carton. What's got to be done there? And I don't want to go with the obligatory lower him in the lineup because that's insane, because obviously that's not an option for the Phillies. What has got to be going? What has got to happen with Kyle Schwarber?
I don't know, man. I think you just got to let it go. I mean, you got to kind of got to tip your cap. Like I said, they played 4 games, and 2 of them were against Spencer Strider. And the other guy was Max Fried. Max Fried wasn't bad. I mean, he wasn't Max Friedish, but he wasn't bad either. And like the only game really I felt like he could have gotten off was last night's game, where he could have gotten off. But yeah, there's something not clicking there with him, but he's a streaky guy. Like this series, he may not do nothing, and he may light it up come this next series against Arizona. It's just the way Schwarber's been.
Yeah, here's hoping he does. Turner 4 for 4, a record-setting night. An RBI, he did score a run. Harper, a quiet 1 for 2, but you know his presence is definitely felt. Had a big error there, man. I was sweating that one, but they bounced back. Alec Bohm, another player you talked about, 0 for 3.
He'd have 6 guys on base tonight.
He's down to a 190 batting average as well. You mentioned maybe lowering him in the lineup potentially to kind of shake things up. I mean, you think that's what's going to do it for him? You're right. He's been MIA too.
I think it should. I think you should, because not to be funny, but Bohm's not used to being up there in that 4 hole. And if you're going to put somebody behind Harper right now, Castellanos has kind of worked. I feel like he's earned the right to move back up into that top part of the lineup, even though he's been really good down at the bottom. Maybe it takes the pressure off of him. You know, have him back behind. You know, I would move him down, and you know, just for 1 second, if you want to split it up and do lefty righty type thing, you can put Stott in front of JT, and then have it be Bohm, Marsh, and then whoever, or Bohm, Pache, and Rojas. I mean, you could do that. Lower him down in the lineup. He always seems to excel when he's down in the lineup. Every time they try to move this kid up, man, he just, I don't know if it's his head or what. And you could just see the frustration tonight with him. He was throwing his helmet all around. So, and that'll probably help him.
Bryson Stott didn't have a good night. 0 for 4 with 3 strikeouts. JT and Overberger, but I'm not going to get on JT. He's been money this entire playoffs. And then our boy Nick Castellanos on the night, 2 for 3, 2 runs, 2 RBIs, 2 homers, and he did have a walk. Brandon Marsh, 2 for 4, and Johan Rojas, who's obviously in there for his defense, which was on display tonight. Season-saving mega play out there in left center field. We'll talk about that in a second. He was 0 for 4. He did have 2 strikeouts as well. Pitching for the Phillies, Ranger went 5, 3 hits, 1 run. It was earned, 2 strikeouts and a home run. He only lasted 69 pitches, which is a manageable pitch count for me in 5 innings in this era of baseball. You know, and it might have been a precaution to take him out. The Phillies went heavy early. Dominguez, Alvarado, and Kimbrel in that order in the 5th, 6th, and 7th inning. Mike, what was your take on that? Was that a desperation move by Topper to not have this series go to 5 games?
I think he was just making sure he was. Listen, I felt like I was kind of scratching my head a little bit, because I would have saved one of them 3 for the 9th inning. Again, I'm a big Orion Kirkering fan. I feel like that kid should have got a shot tonight, even though we would have been back-to-back days. He's young. Throw him out there. You know, let's see what he got. The kid's got filthy stuff. And I felt like they could have used him. Even though Strom got the save tonight, he's been shaky as hell. And watching them do that, I was a little perplexed, to be honest with you. I'm like, all right, what the hell is he doing? But apparently he pulled all the right strings. Like, that's one thing. A lot of people, I know there's some people who don't like Rob Thompson as the Phillies manager. You got to give the guy his due. He has a feel for his team, man, and he just knows the right buttons to pull.
Yeah, he knows what right buttons to push with me at times too. So anyway, Soto and Strom. Strom gets credit with the save. Soto with the hold. Kimbrel with the hold. Alvarado with the hold as well. No Jeff Hoffman tonight, thank the maker. But you're right, he did push all the right buttons. For the Braves, Strider went 5.5, 7 hits, 3 runs. They were earned, 3 walks. Did strike out 7, but he gave up the 3 home runs. 96 pitches, Mike, in 5.5 innings.
Yeah, they were making him work.
They
were making him work. I think after the 1st inning, he had like 24 pitches or something like that. And I went, I said, he's not going to last long. I don't care that he's throwing 100. Like, he's not going to last long. He can only throw. I just felt like Brian Schnicker really did his team a disservice in this series with their starting pitcher. I think he relied too much on that, and their bats weren't alive. Like, you didn't see any – like, they didn't play baseball. They went up there just trying to hack away and swing away. They weren't dropping bunts. They weren't trying to get men on base. They weren't taking pitches. Like the Braves really just – this is why I pick against them every year, because they do this every year. They get a week off, and they forget how to play baseball.
Well, they're going to have about 5 months off now to kind of figure out themselves up before they get down to spring training. Braves offensively, the standouts, Sean Murphy and Austin Riley both went 2 for 4, but that's really it as the Phillies punched their ticket for the second straight year, going back to the NLCS, where they will face the Arizona Diamondbacks Game 1, Monday night, 8 p.m. at the Bank, for those of you who are wondering. I'm going to pay some bills here, Mike, and then we got a bunch of comments we're going to
we got to get to these comments, boy.
We're going to get to the comments, but let me pay some bills. This is the lineup here on EOP this week. We're getting into the back end of the week. We also had a Flyers game tonight, by the way. Congratulations, Flyers. They won 4-2 out there in Columbus. But tonight was attacking third, and, of course, the Titans final tomorrow. The Kelly Green Hour, the Steel Steps, and then Saturday, Clear the Ice. The Flyers postgame show will make its season debut. Postgame Flyers, Senators. There will be no Titans final on Saturday. We're once again devoid of baseball until Monday around here, but I'll take it because it's going to the NLCS. And if you're looking for tickets to that so-called or so said National League Championship Series, look no further than SherryTickets.com at www.sherrytickets.com. Great prices, no hidden fees, family-owned and operated since 1946. Save an additional 10% when you enter the promo code EOP10. All right, Mike, let's fire up some of these comments. Let's get.
All right, this is our boy right here, Chris Moore, coming in here saying Rojas saves the day. He did, and he put this up literally right after it happened. This happened around 25 after 10. He put it right up in the comments. This is something that we didn't talk about, Matty B. It's about Harper taking that knee from Olsen. So hopefully when Al joins us, maybe he can give us an update on what's going on with him or not. Chris comes back again and checks it and says Bryce is back on the field. And after the last pitch, we get this from Chris as well. He's saying it is confirmed. And then we get to Hurst the first 2, which I love. How about this? Phillies don't have to start on the road. They get to sit home. And Chris brings up another point. Undefeated so far in the playoffs, just like last year.
So I might be thinking a little bit ahead of myself, Mike, but how does the World Series work? Is it just by record or is
record?
So no more All-Star game stuff?
No more All-Star game. It's record. And I think right now, if I look at it, I think the only team that finished who? The Astros. Yeah, that's it. They have the better record, so they would host. But if Texas were to beat them,
because Texas was 90-72, and Texas swept us at the beginning of the season, so they would probably hold the tiebreaker.
Oh, so it doesn't matter either which way we start the World Series.
Yeah, we're going on the road for the World Series.
That's all right. Revenge tour. I want the Astros.
Yeah, so do I. But anyway, we don't want to put the cart before the horse.
You're right, exactly. Here goes our boy Dives checking in. He goes, I'm going to remember that Kimbrel versus Acuna sequence for a long, long time. What a moment. Where can I find a 24-hour liquor store? Hey, Dives, you should have saw me in here. Dude. I was like, oh, my God. Matty B, what was your reaction when you saw Acuna hit that ball?
Yeah, no. Extra bases? I don't know. I was like, game 2? I mean, a lot of stuff came flooding in. And then,
listen, when he hit that ball, I'm like, I think he's going to catch that. And
I thought it was going to get past him. I thought he had taken the wrong angle on it, and he caught up to it. The guy can fly out there, and that was obviously. Did he make the catch harder than it was?
Yes.
Did he play the ball wrong? I mean,
he made it. Jeff Francoeur said that on the telecast. He said, he goes, he made that a lot harder than it was. But when you first seen it off the bat, you seen how far apart they were, and all of a sudden, that kid made up some ground.
He did.
And as he started running, I'm like, I think he's going to get that. And I'm like, please get that. And all of a sudden, he snagged down. I went, whoa, here we go. I knew right then and there, man. I said the Braves are done. Because if it wasn't our night, that ball goes off that kid's glove and 2 runs scored.
I mean, he's batting 48. So obviously he's in there for his defense, which is fine. I will take it. We need it. I do not want a game to be lost on defense anymore. So I'll take it. Good play by Rojas out there regardless.
Chris, again, commenting saying game 1 Monday. Chris, I can't wait. Malik says, let's go Phillies. Attaboy Braves. Take a seat. Watch us from home just like last year. It's Red October.
It is.
You know, I got to do, when I'm done here with you, I got to do a little tweet back to, was it Braves at Bally Sports? Because they like to put up a picture. They put up a picture of the Braves celebrating. And I told them, I said, you can celebrate on our field in September. We're going to celebrate on our field in October. So I know the Phillies took a picture. I'm going to put that up tonight, and I'm going to send it to them. So, and make sure you guys troll Blooper, too. Tell him he's the ugliest mascot in all of baseball. Who the hell names their mascot Blooper?
Yeah.
What is that thing?
I don't know.
Petition to build Nicky C's statue next to Foles. All right.
It was huge, but not quite that. I mean, if this all ends up in a ring, we'll talk, Dives. But you know, it was huge.
Yeah, it was. Randall says yes, yes, yes. And Dimes again says, cannot believe they went with Strom over Hoffman, but Thompson continues to win.
Oh, then stop. Let's put the brakes on right now. Okay. In what universe would Jeff Hoffman been the option in the 9th inning? Again, I gave the stat line last night. His career stat line. He's got 11 holds, 1 blown save, and 1 save. Is that the stat line of a guy you want the playoffs to be resting on his arm? I don't care about the lefty-righty matchup. I get it. I don't hate Jeff Hoffman, but not in that situation. In nowhere, shape, or form do I want to see Jeff Hoffman in a baseball game after the 5th inning ever again. Mike, am I taking too much of a hard stance on this? But
I would say after the 7th. I would say after the 7th. Like, I don't want to see him beyond the 7th inning. Up to the 7th inning, I don't care. Because I feel like the guy's okay in low-pressure situations. I feel like as the pressure goes up, I wouldn't want him in there.
I cannot get over this Jeff Hoffman love affair. I honestly
don't.
Well,
listen, you got to look at it, man. Listen, the guy has pitched well for the Phillies. He has.
I agree, but if I need somebody in the 3rd inning or the 1st inning or the 2nd inning, the 8 innings, absolutely Jeff Hoffman, come on in. But I am not turning the ball over to him in the 9th inning in Game 4 of the NLDS with the season on the line. Essentially, I'm not doing that, man. I just no.
Well, I don't think Rob Thompson would have either. I think he would have went to Lorenzen there, and you also got to remember too. They got Taijuan Walker sitting around there too.
They had a bunch of options.
They had a bunch of options.
Wheeler could have pitched. I mean, God forbid. They could have used Wheeler if they needed a
Can you imagine if Wheeler would have came in to close that game? That would have been hysterical. Of course, everybody, they got killed here in Philly. They would have been like, are you serious? You bring them in? We need them for Game 1. But we're going to continue here. Jeff Erb says, yay, woohoo. Chris checking in says, 2023, year of the parody. Says Bryce Harsh confirms a hit to the funny bone to John Clark. So now we know it's just a funny bone injury, but hey. Harry says, go Phillies. Harry, way to go. Not too old for this doing Flyers final, Manny B. Get JJ on the horn.
We are going to do the final. Well, Clear the Ice will be on Saturday. We didn't do it tonight because of this. Obviously, this takes precedent right now. But yes, Jim Jackson has told me that when the Flyers are when they're on national TV, like when they don't have the call, that he will come on the post game. So yeah, definitely, Steve. We'll be working those phones with him this season. I promise.
Yeah, I would love to get on there with JJ again too. Shout out to the Flyers. Game 1 tonight. They beat the Columbus Blue Jackets 4-2. I was here. I had both of the games going. So hats off to them. Good night for Philly sports so far, Matty. What'd you say, huh?
Absolutely. No, 100%. 100%.
Grease them poles. That's all I'm saying. Joe Hale says Trey Turner had a good series. I believe he had a great series in this series. 4 for 4 tonight. He had 7. I wrote it down here. Trey Turner, 11 home runs in this series for the Fighting Phillies. And they also Turner had 7 hits in this. I'm like,
yeah, it's amazing. It's absolutely amazing for a guy from where he came from, with the type of season he was having and all that. It's absolutely amazing.
And shout out to the Philly captain, because he was the original guy who said, give him a standing ovation. I'm tired of my boy John getting dissed. Philly captain.
It wasn't Jack Fritz?
No, it was the Philly captain. He went on his – you ain't hear that story, Matty?
Yeah, I hear you ran about it a few times.
Oh, yeah, and that's BS. Listen, I'm from Port Richmond. John lives in Port Richmond, now lives in Bridesburg. But, it's a neighborhood guy. I'm not going to see him get railed by a guy named Jack Fritz because Fritz took a story and ran with it. So that's all right. That's a show for another time. But hey, congratulations to Trey. Trey, I felt like had it awesome. Quentin Moore says off
man. Why are
topic.
you guys pissing on my parade tonight, man? What's?
Listen, I'm not. No, we're not doing no Howie Roseman, none of that BS.
No, we're not.
The Phils just eliminated the best team in baseball. They were the next coming of the 27 Yankees. So I love it. Underrated Phillies entity training staff, second straight postseason. We basically come in 100% health. Never questioning Topper again. No, you have a right to question Topper because I was scratching my head on some of the decisions that he made, especially bringing our 3 closers in to the middle innings. But Matty, again, what do you say about this training staff?
Look, that's a good point too. The Braves lost Kyle Wright right at the end of the season due to some shoulder issues. Have the Phillies really? I mean, this season, Ranger was dinged up in the beginning.
Alvarado and Dominguez.
Yeah, you guys kind of went in and out, but nothing long term. You're absolutely right. I think the overall health of this team gets overlooked through all of this. But yeah, they've done an outstanding job, and unfortunately, some seasons are, you can kind of chalk up to that. But no,
I'm looking now too. Like Braves fans are like really they're using that card too because no Kyle Wright, no Charlie Morton.
Mm-hmm.
Max Fried was out with a blister, and this is the second straight year now that the Phillies did this to them. So I don't know, man. You got to give them their due as far as our training staff. But like I've said about this Braves from April to September, man, they are a well-run organization, top to bottom. They can lose guys in free agency. There's somebody in the pipeline ready to come in. They're really good at that. So are the Dodgers. But it just happens when it changes from September to October, these guys don't know how to win. They just don't. They're the biggest chokers. Both of those franchises, biggest chokers. Yeah. And I love it because, again, look at all the teams this year. Now, you want to talk about – somebody mentioned earlier about parity, right? All the teams with 100 wins or more eliminated.
Yeah.
Look at it. I mean, you got a 90-win team and a 93-win team and a 90-win teams and whatever Arizona finished up with.
Yeah, I mean, and those 100-win teams, they didn't really even make a fight of it. They kind of went out like, okay, we're done. I mean, they didn't really battle at all. The Dodgers even get their feet wet and they're already out of the playoffs. I mean, it's just.
Me and Al were in here doing, I believe it was game 1 Saturday, and we're sitting here doing the final, and we're watching. I just kind of glanced over, and it was 1-0. I was like, oh, okay, 1-0. Next thing you know, I glanced over again. It was 5-0, and they're taking Kershaw out of the game. I'm like, Jesus God. And they just pounded them. They just pounded them out. And you know what? Like I said, those two teams, when it comes to October baseball, nope. We're going to have Steve checking in. Says, Q, yeah, you two need to go bowling together. It's a great time to be a Philly sports fan. It damn sure is. You got a team heading to the NL Championship Series. You got a football team doing real well. You got a hockey team starting off on the right foot. A soccer team that's doing pretty damn good. Good time to be in Philadelphia. Definitely a good time there, Quentin. Quentin's laughing at the bowling comment. And Steve says, Cassidy stole the NLDS MVP straight out of the jaw of MP3. I'm disappointed for Hoffman, but he will get more chances.
Is there such an award? Is there an NLDS MVP?
No, there's not. But they said if so, it would probably go to Harper because he had the 2 home runs last night. But I don't know. Castellanos after tonight. Castellanos and Turner had to go and get it. Turner with 7 hits. Linda checking in says, oh my God, I'm so excited. Quentin says, I'm looking forward to hearing about the matchups next series. There should be some pretty good ones.
Yeah, I mean, game 1, what do you got? Zach Gallen and Zach Wheeler. I mean, that's got to be number 1, right? That's got to be the matchup. And we're going to talk. I'm going to give you the series at a glance of the Diamondbacks, talking about how the Phillies did this year, about with them head-to-head a little bit later here in the show. But, Mike, let's take a pause here so I can get some more bills out of the way. For those of you who had the opportunity to go to the game tonight, that's great. If you didn't, then you should have been at Dolan's down there at 24 East Sellers Ave, Ridley Park for Grizzo music. Great times, memorabilia giveaways. You never know who might come walk through the front door down there at Dolan's, 24 East Sellers Ave, Ridley Park in the heart of Delaware County. And Philly Sports Trips. What can I say about these guys? They are the number one sports trip Philadelphia thing going. If you want to travel like the pros, looking for the Philly Sports Trips, this is their crown jewel for next year. It's the London trip out on June 6th to the 12th to go see the Phillies and the New York Mets. And everything else that they have to offer over Philly Sports Trips. They got you covered for Flyers, Sixers, Phillies, Union, you name it, they got it. And then if you have any issues with workman's compensation, motor vehicle accidents, personal injury, or criminal law, Dave Cherry is the man to call. All right, Mike, let's do it real quick. Yeah, series at a glance with the Arizona Diamondbacks. The Phillies were 4-3 this year against the Diamondbacks in 7 games played. Phillies pitching surrendered 8 home runs against the Diamondbacks, and the Diamondbacks surrendered 8 home runs for the Phillies this year. So 8-8, the power numbers. Phillies struck out 65 Diamondbacks to 61 Phillies that were struck out by Diamondback pitchers. Phillies stole 8 bases versus 3 bases. So they were, again, using that aggressive base mantra in that series as well. So 8-3 as they were running wild. Walks, Phillies surrendered 22 walks to Arizona Diamondback hitters, whereas the Phillies walked 29 times. Phillies out-hit the Diamondbacks 74-61, and they outscored them 44-34, and or outrun them to 44-34. And they were 22 for 77 with runners in scoring position for a 286 batting average. A little bit optimistic to look at that batting average with runners in scoring position. So that is your series at a glance with the Arizona Diamondbacks. Mike, let's start rolling some more of these comments because I think we're getting buried alive in them.
We are. That's why I've been sitting here. I'm sorry. I was just checking. I had to check the Braves Twitter, and I'm sorry. The very first one, Steve, I'll get your comment in a second. It says the 104-win Braves have been eliminated. Oh, God. It says, Steve says Strom was all about the scrub. Rosario. Put that on a pedestal. Okay. He said, Quentin checking in said, did the Braves choke?
Like Pat Bernard at the Blue Oyster on Saturday night, man. Yes, they did.
There you go. There you go. That was great. Did anyone of the starters were coming out for the 9th? Not that I seen, Steve. Like nobody had. I think he had Strom up, but that was about it. So,
I was thinking about it. I mean, I was thinking about it. They weren't, but
World Series, it's not record. It's head-to-head. Texas has the series.
Yeah, okay.
Oh, so if the Phillies play them, if the Phillies play Houston, the Phillies took 2 out of 3 from Houston.
They did?
That's right. Yeah. So, all right, if we get the rematch, they got to play here 4 games. All right.
Work that.
So, all right. So it's either which way we're going to Texas. But Thank you. Thanks, Steve. I did not realize that. Walter checking in said Nicky Bats. Our guy Ellis checking in and says awesome win tonight. Nice starts here in Philly. Know why? JT called a great game for Joe Hale. Linda checking in saying agree, Maddie. Hoffman is a no for me.
Oh my God, Linda, you better be careful because Al's going to get upset. He's like the president of the Jeff Hoffman fan club. So you better keep that down. Don't let Al hear that because he's going to get mad.
Marky Mac says Pache and Mark need to be in center and left. Rojas is just an automatic out. Yeah, I'm sorry, Mac. Sorry, yeah. Mark. I'm going to have to disagree with you there. Yeah, that kid just saved the Phillies from having to go to Atlanta. So I don't care about his bat. We got enough people in the lineup that can cover for him in his bat. You need his glove out there in center field. He showed why he's in this lineup.
And I'd have him bunt every time at bat. I don't care. Bunt. See if we can get on.
It's a hard stance on Hoffman. Last year, Alvarado hung the same exact pitch to Juan Yepes, and he got it over with. We have more options this year, not just Bellotti. I miss Andrew Bellotti. Where's he at? Is he down in AAA?
Yeah, he's in the minors. He's been dinged up all season. I think he's still with the organization. I know that. Actually, I think he's in Florida. I think he's one of those 5 players that the Phillies are keeping in reserve, possibly to call up for the NLCS.
Okay. It says, who was the MVP of the series? There was no MVP. They didn't. But if you're going to go with it, as me and Matty B were saying, you're looking at either Trey Turner with having 7 hits over 4 games or Nick Castellanos with 4 home runs in 4 games.
I think Harper kind of finishes on the end of that. I mean, really, listen, his contributions were great, but he was outshined by those 2. I mean, that's the fact.
This is our boy. Hey, Cowboy Dave Yarnell checking in. Says, wow, I'm shocked, honestly. Congrats to the Phils. Here come the D-backs. Okay, Dave, you were shocked, but I'd like to see who you're going to pick for the NLCS there. But hey, Phillies get to go back and defend their championship. So let's wait and see. Walker or Sanchez for Game 4? I'm going to say Christopher Sanchez.
I'm going to say that's right. They're going to need 4 starters this time, aren't they?
Yeah. I say Christopher Sanchez.
I think they start Walker in Game 3 and Suarez in Game 4.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what I would do.
He says, see you guys. Q knows where I'm going. Okay. Linda said, oh, well. And the last one right now that we caught up, he says, we have more speed on the bases and infield. World champions, here we come. That's from Walter. So we are all caught up right now on our – we got to the bottom. We made it.
I don't know where Al's at. He might have gotten – maybe they sprayed champagne in his eyes and he's blind. I don't know what's going on. He should have chimed in by now. But, Al, if you're out there listening, we're waiting on you. We're going to sit here for a few more minutes because we could obviously talk this all night. But please, if you're okay, send up a smoke signal or a flare so that we know that you're all right. But all right, Mike. So we got a matchup between a team that we've never seen in the postseason ever before. 4-3, as I mentioned, on the season against the Diamondbacks. Diamondbacks got a lot of 22 Phillies vibes going on right now. A team that's come out of literally nowhere. They got hot at the end. They got into the playoffs, and they've kind of run roughshod. They haven't lost a game yet in the postseason. And they got to come here on Monday. Zach Allen, as I mentioned, will probably be your number one, your day one or game 1 starter against Zach Wheeler. In Mike Laro's instant reaction, wow, how do you see this series between the Phillies and Diamondbacks?
I say the Phillies win it 4-2. I think the Diamondbacks are a good enough team. I think they will give the Phillies a loss or 2. I just don't think, as much as we've never seen them before, they haven't experienced Red October. They haven't experienced 3 hours of hell. They will Monday and Tuesday, but it's going to be very hard, I think, for them. I think if this lineup, like, I'm sorry, the Braves got a better pitching staff than Arizona. And the Phillies just hit 11 home runs in 4 games off of them. Phillies team's hot, and they want to ring. They're a focused team. They're better than they were a year ago, Matt.
Yeah.
And think about this. They're better than they were a year ago, and they took Houston to 6 games. You know, Houston didn't lose either until they got to the Phillies, if you remember. So I think the Phillies are going to send them a message. Like I said, I'm looking at it. So we got a comment right here. I got to play. Abel Torres says, "Go Astros." So
that's fine. We'll see you next. I mean, we that doesn't matter to me right now. So go Astros. Yeah, whatever. See you in a couple weeks.
Austin checking in. Austin Hamill from attacking the third. He said, beautiful pitch by Strom to get the 3rd strike. Christopher Moore says, D-backs second team to beat the Dodgers in NLDS. The other one was the Padres last year.
Yeah.
Again, says Phillies aren't winning it again this year. I can't wait to laugh. Good looking honky. I love the name. I love the name.
Oh, man.
It says they won Houston. They won Houston. Oh, I guess these guys are doing that.
Listen, I want Houston too. I want to beat the team that beat us last year. Absolutely, that's called revenge, and absolutely want it. They stole it from us last year.
You don't know what you're talking about. The Braves pitching has 1 ace. Dum. Oh boy, I think we got us a couple of clowns.
Okay. We are very inclusive here. We invite all types. That come on. If you want to get 2 seconds of fame. Go ahead.
So, Star Wars 99 says Phillies can go all the way. I believe that they can. Listen, getting back to looking at this series ahead too, I feel like the Phillies got a better bullpen as well. I feel like their bullpen's better than Arizona. Now, as far as the lineup 1 through 9, they can probably give the Phillies a little bit of trouble. I mean, Marte's a good player.
Walker's a good player,
right?
Evan Longoria's got some. He's got
some juice left. He's got some juice left.
So no, but you know what? When I look at the lineups that we just went through with the Braves, I don't think it compares. I think the Braves have a better lineup.
Oh, they
do.
And, they do. I mean, nobody in the National League had a lineup like the Braves.
Yeah.
And the Phillies just went through them. But also, you got to keep it in. Got to keep it in the back of your mind too. This Arizona team's hot, and they just got a huge monkey off their back. Like they couldn't beat the Dodgers to save their life this year, and they just went and swept them. So again, they got that little mojo going for them. So it's going to be definitely,
So here's the thing, though. Heading into the NLCS, now I think last year when we went in against the Padres, we were considered the favorite in that series. Would you not agree to that, or do you think the Padres were considered the favorite?
If I remember right, I believe the Padres were the favorites because they were a higher seed. They were the favorites going in.
There's no doubt that this year heading into the NLCS, we're going to be the favorites. There's absolutely no doubt. We're defending NL champions. We will be with a higher seed. We had the more wins and all that. So does that play against the Phillies?
No, because if you look at this team, one thing I'm seeing from this Phillies team that we didn't see a year ago, these guys are focused. These guys are, it's business. Like Castellanos kept doing this, letting them know we want the ring. That's what he's telling them. And I think it's really kind of sticking here, because they are doing, like, to me, this reminds me of, I'm not going to say the 2017, I'm going to say the 2017 Eagles. You know how they looked at it as a business approach?
Yep.
The players looked at it. We can do this. We can get there. And when we get there, we can win. This is what this Phillies team's doing. It reminds me almost of the, I'm not going to say the 83 Phillies because that was a lot of veterans kind of mixed in. This is a younger core group of guys. So I'm not going to say 93 either. I don't think if I'm going to equate it, I'm going to equate it to like the 17 Eagles. That would be my equating to them.
You don't want to equate it to the 09 Phillies.
No, because the reason
approach defending their world title.
I would say more the 07 Phillies. Or last year they were the 07 Phillies, last year's team. This reminds me kind of the 08.
Okay.
Like they've been there. They've been there. They know what they got to do. Nate checking in says, poor Braves fans are crying like Arcia was tonight. That's awesome. Crying your mimosas. Abel Torres says, in all honesty, Astro and Phillies World Series made the best team win. Phillies are dogs, though. Well, Abel, thank you. And make sure you keep checking in, man, because we give unbiased opinions here. If we were on here a year ago, had to tip the cap to the Stros for beating us. But I think if we do get the Stros, I'll tell you what, that series may go 7 down there between the Rangers and the Stros. But I think the Stros kind of own the Rangers, though, this year. They kind of beat up on them. But I know Scherzer's coming back or he's back. One of the others.
Whenever you got two divisional rivals playing in a championship series round, all bets are off. It's going to be a street fight, and whoever's left, war of attrition. Whoever's left standing at the end is going to be the winner. I think that I love that. That's great baseball right there. Division rivals in a chance to go to the World Series. I mean, nothing better than that. It really isn't.
I'm going to be watching that series too. I'm going to be watching not just our series, but I'm going to be watching that too. So we got our work cut out for us, no matter who it is, because that Texas team, like I said, the Phillies haven't seen them since the opening series. So we kind of owe them a little payback. And they kind of kicked our tail the last couple of years.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So
it was a really good way to start the season. Trust me, I remember very, very vividly.
Noel's pitching is better in the postseason.
He has. So listen, now you mentioned Nola. Yeah, but the Nola from the NLCS and the World Series last year was not good. And that's the only thing I have to gauge Nola from. The Nola from the NLDS and the wild card last year was very good, just like this season. But it's the Nola in the next round that I want to see. It's Game 2 Nola, Tuesday night at the bank. That's the Nola I want to see in the NLCS. That's the moneymaker right there.
Let me ask you a question. Do you think they carry Lorenzen just in case if he gets in trouble?
Yeah, I think they're pretty much set offensively. I don't think they're going to make any more tweaks with the bats. All you Reese Hoskins fans out there, I don't think they're making any more tweaks with the bats. I don't.
I do. I think if they get, I think Jake Cave takes a seat and they bring Weston Wilson up because we didn't. Why not? Listen, Weston Wilson can provide power off the bench. Jake Cape's not providing power off the bench.
Jake Cape played in the playoffs. I mean, did he even get a bat?
No, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. So, I mean, if you're going to do that, I would bring Weston Wilson in. He's got more of a chance to pop one out if you need him to hit than Jake Cave. Like Jake Cave being on this roster right now makes no sense to me.
I agree, but I think at this point of the season, pitching wins championships, and if we can keep an extra pitcher, the offense to me is what it is. To hell or high water, I'm gonna go with that extra arm every day.
Okay, Linda checking in says we got the mojo too. Joe Hill saying I hope Bohm drops the 6 in the batting order. You know what, Joe? We just said it. Not a bad idea. Rob Hefner checking in all the way from Vegas. The mayor of Las Vegas checking in says any word on Harper injury. From what we're hearing, it was he got hit in the funny bone. That's why he made that noise or made that face. Probably going to be okay. Stay tuned. If it's anything worse, we'll let you know. He says Phillies ring the bell. Braves flip. Braves flop, and of course, our boy Mike Fuji checking in. Says, how about those fightings? On to another NLCS there, Fuji. And I know you're excited, my man. We are as ecstatic as can be.
All right, Mike, I think we're going to cut it here. Al, listen, if you're out there, man, seriously, call me. Text me. Let me know you're okay because we were waiting on you all night. You're supposed to chime in.
Dude, he's probably dancing. He's probably dancing. He's in the locker room. He's probably doing the little two-step tango that Pat does every Saturday night. He's doing that with Nick Castellanos tonight.
Wearing the ski goggles. So, so we'll definitely Al will be posting stuff up here on the show on the site, I should say, from here to come over the weekend. But Mike, listen, back to the NLCS, 3-1 winners tonight. Monday night at the bank, game 1. No starters have been announced, but you probably bet the farm on Zach Gallen versus Zach Wheeler. I don't think there's really much question about that. But you say Phillies in 5? Is that what you're saying?
4-2.
So Phillies in 6.
In 6. I think they don't. I think they win the first 2 here. Phillies will win 1 out there out of the 3. They'll come back up 3-2, and they'll end it here in game 6.
I think Phillies in 6 is my estimation as well. Mike, before we head out, give any parting shots for the folks out there. Can you tell us where we can find you?
You can find me usually Thursday nights right here, 6 o'clock for the Locker Room Sports Show, hosted by myself and James Scorza. I brought Jimmy on. Jimmy's my producer. So you can check us out every Thursday night. And, of course, every Sunday morning, I am one half of P&M in the AM with my partner, Pat Bernard. So you can join us every Sunday morning. And I also do the Fighting's Final. And now, since the season started, Clearing the Ice. So you just have to check us out. Check me out.
Yeah, and I'm Matty B, again, part of the Fighting's Final and Clear the Ice as well. And you can catch me here on EOP every Monday at 8 doing the Phillies Sports Matty B show. And but it's a great night. It's a great night to be a Phillies fan. As I say, grease the polls. Pat, that you can stay in the Poconos, man. You don't gotta come down for that. You're okay, all right.
One last, we got a couple last comments real quick. Abel Torres says, "Keep up the good work. Y'all fan base is loud and proud. It's great to be a fan of baseball right now. Y'all just knocked out a juggernaut. Phillies are dangerous." I guess Abel is he must be a Astros fan. Yeah. Good luck to you guys, Abel, in the American League Championship Series. Hopefully we see you in the Fall Classic. Our boy Quentin checking in again says, "Go Phils." And he also has a message for everybody out there. Like and subscribe.
Absolutely.
Why not?
Smash that bell.
Well, for Matty B.
Well, hang on. I got to do this. I got to do this right because this is the mojo here. For Mike, I'm Matty B, and I got to hear from one more person. Oh, Harry K, what you got?